Hello and welcome to our daily Africa Cup of Nations show. Once again here on France 24. The quarterfinal stage of the tournament is over, with the games between Egypt and Morocco, as well as Senegal and Equatorial Guinea having reached their conclusion. To go over all the drama of the matches, I'm joined here by Ruben Slachter from Eurosport. Ruben, great to have you here again.
Thank you for inviting me again.
And so the action is all over from the two matches at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Yaoundé, and Senegal have beaten Equatorial Guinea 3-1 to take one step closer to their first ever African Cup of Nations title. Famara Diedhiou opened the scoring for the Lions of Teranga after beautiful vision from Sadio Mané, who returned after a concussion against Cape Verde. A contentious penalty call for Equatorial Guinea was overturned by the referee before Jannick Buyla scored a brilliant outside foot finish for for Equatorial Guinea rather, but then Senegal turned up the heat, first through a Cheikhou Kouyaté volley and then Ismaïla Sarr with the goal for Aliou Cissé's team. Well, France 24 sports editor Simon Harding was in and amongst a fervent crowd at the Stade Amadou to soak it all in. Simon, it was a quality game with beautiful interplay for all the goals, especially Senegal's. Overall, could we say that the Lions are at last showing what they're made of?
Yes, you get the sense that finally, we're seeing the real face of the Lions of Teranga, and it's taken quite some time. Now, it is true that Senegal did play quite well in patches of the game, but it's important to stress that it was in patches, Jean-Emile, because they scored the opening goal through Diedhiou, as you mentioned, but after that, they kind of sat back, allowed Equatorial Guinea to get a foothold back into the game, to use their pace, particularly up front, and the African minnows really delivered at the start of the second half. There was that controversial handball you mentioned when Ivan Salvador tried to poke it through to his teammate, and then of course the goal itself. Senegal had to come back from that because it was the first goal that they've conceded here in Cameroon during the entire tournament. So we saw also a different side of Aliou Cissé's team, a little bit more of a mental fortitude and ability to bounce back from a setback, and they delivered in style. But what is the most impressive and the most important to stress is the strength and depth of this Senegal side, because it is the bench and the substitutes that really made the difference, with Cheikhou Kouyaté of Crystal Palace and then Ismaïla Sarr of Watford coming on to score goals 2 and 3 and to therefore secure the points. So Senegal, we can say, finally playing to their full potential, finally showing the crowd and their supporters who have been demanding that they play a lot better, a little bit more, and of course they're going to have to even improve a little bit more on what they showed in this match, because against Burkina Faso in the semi-finals, it's not going to be an easy one.
Thanks, Simon. That's obviously showing that inventive play that Senegal are now bringing to the equation. For Equatorial Guinea, Ruben, the dream is over. They've shown such great resilience, but they just came up against too strong an opposition in the end.
Yes, well, we shouldn't forget the amazing run they've had during this tournament. I mean, beating Algeria, also eliminating Mali on the way. So they can be really proud. We shouldn't forget that there were a lot of players from the third or fourth Spanish division on the pitch today. So it's really impressive what they've done. It's just, we'll never know what if the penalty call, etc. But we also should be honest, and they will be as well. I think that over for most of the match today, Senegal was just a better team. It was, for me, I was really happy to see them finally playing also some attacking football, because playing against Mali, it was only preventing the opponents from scoring. And now, while being behind, finally they stood up and they played. And then we saw what an exciting team they can be. So I think that also that will be a good lesson for them, I hope, and that we will see them also a little bit more offensive in the next, hopefully in the next Africa Cup of Nations.
Well, that's claiming two scalps, mighty Algeria and Mali, on the way to this quarter-final. A great effort there, it has to be said, for the Equatorial Guinea. Well, it's impossible not to go back to the absolute scenes of the earlier match in the day, and that was where Egypt triumphed over Morocco 2-1 in extra time. After PSG fullback Achraf Hakimi was fouled in the box, Sofiane Boufal stepped up to score the penalty for the Atlas Lions. But Egypt sprung into life with that man, Mohamed Salah, responding quick off a rebound to equalise. The game went into extra time, and then Salah again found Trézéguet in the box for a tap-in to take the Pharaohs to the semi-finals, where they now face Cameroon. Simon, I want to come back to you. We previously spoke about just before the last 16 about Egypt's chances of progression, where I have to say you were a bit cynical, but they've come now to claim the scalp of both Ivory Coast and a fearsome side in Morocco. What's changed for the Pharaohs team?
Well, it seems that I keep predicting they're going to go out, so they keep on winning. So perhaps that's why they keep on making it through, and they've made it to the semi-finals. No, in all seriousness, the Pharaohs once again built this win against Morocco on a very solid defensive block, on an impenetrable unit that Morocco struggled to break down. We saw that Achraf Hakimi was neutralised down his right wing. Yes, he did provoke the penalty, but from then onwards, very difficult for the PSG star to have any sort of impact on the attacking play for the Atlas Lions. And we've seen in previous games, whether it was against Gabon or against Malawi in the last 16, that a lot of Morocco's attacks tended to come down that right-hand side. As you mentioned as well, everything good that came from Egypt came through a man we all know very well, Mohamed Salah, the best player in the world, probably at this moment in time. It is true that Mohamed Salah has this knack of being able to always conjure up something when you least expect it. For the goal, he just happened to be in the right place at the right time, but that's what the great players do. We know that a lot of the time you just have to take your luck, and that's what he did again. And then for the second goal, it was much more of a trademark Salah move, running at the defenders, cutting inside, and it was an inch-perfect cross for Trézéguet. But once again, Egypt are relying massively on Mohamed Salah and on their star to get the goals and to create anything. And you fear, and I will stand by this point once more, you fear that if a team manages to shut down Salah, to lock him down, then Egypt are going to be restricted to scraps. Now, they did have 2 shots from range in the first half, testing Bounou in goal, but it wasn't enough from the Egyptians. And of course, you can say that this is also a very disappointing loss for Morocco, because the Atlas Lions probably were the most consistent side coming into the quarter-finals. They have the squad, they have the ability to go forwards, and since winning the tournament in 1976 and then reaching the final in 2004, they've never gone past the quarter-final. So for a Moroccan side and for a nation of Morocco that many consider to be one of the biggest, and certainly the biggest financially on the continent, the results recently have been incredibly disappointing, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see Vahid Halilhodžić leave in the coming days.
And he might follow the likes of Ghana's coach as well as Tunisia's if he does that. Simon, thanks so much. Well, it's no means the same Egyptian team that we used to see in the early 2000s with the likes of Mohamed Abou Trikha leading the line. As Simon mentioned now, it's Mohamed Salah. Is it enough? Simon seems to think not. Is it enough to have him, all the focal attack going through him, or does Carlos Queiroz' team need an alternative route?
There is no alternative route. So, I have to agree with Simon. I don't see them really, still not as the main contenders to win the Africa Cup of Nations. Having said all that, if Mohamed Salah can every match can score a goal and have an assist like he had today, not only probably he will get them to the final and probably win the cup, he also will deserve finally that Ballon d'Or he so much wants, or even, I think a lot of people in the football world will think that he deserves it. So that's for one part. Having said all that, if you're looking at this Egyptian team, it would be a real surprise, also considering how Cameroon has been so far, if they would win that semi-final and even a potential final against Senegal or Burkina Faso. You never know.
So Egyptian defense has to really show some fortitude against the host nations. So then just a quick recap again of the results from today. A brilliant display, particularly from man of the match Mohamed Salah, helping Egypt overcome the Atlas Lions of Morocco, with the Pharaohs coming from behind. Sofiane Boufal scoring a third-minute penalty, Salah equalising from the rebound in the 55th minute to set up Trézéguet at the start of extra time with a delicious cross, winning the game 2-1. And in the second game of the day, Senegal turning on the style to beat Equatorial Guinea 3-1, thanks to some quality play. That's Diedhiou, Kouyaté and Sarr with the goals for Aliou Cissé's team, and Jannick Buyla replying for the Northern Thunder. Well, we've seen there today's results. And of course, this comes after Saturday's matches where Cameroon eased past Gambia 2-0. While in an unlikely result, the Stallions of Burkina Faso trampled on Tunisia's dreams with Dango Ouattara scoring a beautiful cutback before getting sent off for his team. Let's remind ourselves of what coach Kamu Malo said after another historic victory for his team.
I'm a novice. It's my first Africa Cup of Nations, and I found myself in the semi-finals. I am very happy, but I'm not enjoying this happiness all by myself, because this is a group effort. I have a team with the staff that worked hand in hand, and this is the result. We are where we are. All that happened to us today is a bonus for us, because I think we have largely fulfilled our part of the deal.
Ruben, we've heard Coach Malo there talk about the fact that anything beyond this is now a bonus, but this Burkinabe team has actually shown some consistency in previous tournaments. Can we really say that they are newcomers on the block anymore?
No, they aren't newcomers, because if you look there, it's now the third time in 5 Africa Cup of Nations, the last 5 editions, that they're into the semi. So we should also really give them credit for becoming one of the bigger teams in Africa. Well, there's a lot of big teams in Africa, of course. Having said all that, it's also what he says. I think from the 4 teams remaining, they are the biggest outsider to win the cup. But you never know. We've seen it today with Equatorial Guinea as well. They were for 30 minutes really believing in their chances before that second goal of Senegal. So if Burkina Faso can also put up the same fight as Equatorial Guinea did in the second half, maybe they can cause another upset.
And of course, they'll be looking to the likes of Zambia in 2012, Chipolopolo. Anything can go in this African Cup of Nations, and it's why we love the tournament so much.
Yes, of course. And I mean, with Burkina Faso, there's also the whole story behind with everything that's happening in the country. You can see that the players are taking energy out of it. So that's already really impressive. I mean, it's not easy, I imagine. So yeah, it could be. It could be. After the performance of Senegal today, I strongly have my doubts though, because Senegal today were really, really strong, and for me, they're the clear favourites to win the title.
A very bold claim there, Ruben. So, well, there you have it. 4 teams left with a chance of making African history as we look ahead to those semi-final matchups on Wednesday and Thursday. Will it be Burkina Faso, finalists in 2013, punching up above their weight to upset the odds? Can Senegal's golden generation roar their way to their first ever title? Will it be Cameroon as hosts with their star strikers Vincent Aboubakar and Karl Toko Ekambi powering them to glory? Or maybe Egypt adding to their unprecedented 7 AFCON titles? Well, with those questions, we conclude our show for this evening. Thanks once again, Ruben, for a delightful insight. Thank you for watching. We'll be bringing you all the latest news from AFCON, as well as a preview of those mouth-watering semi-final clashes from Paris and Yaoundé tomorrow, same time. Until then, stay tuned for more news on France 24.